See that I'm like so truthful to a fault. That's my downside. You know, I don't
Yeah.
lie to I refuse to lie to people, and if they ask me their my opinion, I'll tell them, and it kind of gets me in trouble. But it's all good. It's all good. All right, I'm gonna grab me a drink, and I'll be right back.
All right. If you guys get a chance to take a look at what we have lined up for the notes and all that stuff, I try to take as many notes as I could. There was a couple gaps, particularly with these starter templates. I know Spider Oz spent a while cleaning them up. Metallica and Katina did the fonts. Temma did the circles, but I wasn't sure who else contributed to that. So if you guys know and can write it in there, I appreciate it. Yeah, George.
Angel Heart did the Angel Heart and one other person collaborated on the arcs.
Okay.
I know Portivar helped a lot with that. I don't know exactly what he did.
Okay, let me put that on there.
What was that? I stepped in at.
Oh, just talking about who was on the templates. I had Metallical and Katina for the fonts, Temma for the circles, Angel Heart for the arches. Can you remember anybody else who should be added to that?
One of the angle set, the one that was right next to the pillar set that I did. I think that was Raves,
Okay.
but Rave hasn't played in like 3 months now, 2 months now.
Yeah, I didn't hear his name mentioned.
Yeah, but he pulled that off of the board claim that I put over there by Dave's place. That's the only place I could think of.
So one thing that was kind of cool, they said that I guess the Ogre competition is going to start tomorrow, or they alluded to that. So that's the way I read it. So
I just hope I get time to work on my stuff again. I mean, God, it sucks, man.
I know. I kind of hope they hold off on starting.
Gotta get paid, man.
We got the ruins built. You gotta get paid.
I gotta get paid.
So we were overlooking at your team up build. It's very cool.
Thanks. I have no idea if I'm going to finish it or not.
Oh, seriously? Oh.
I would like to, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe on Friday night I'll have time. I want to lift the whole thing up and make it so it drops down into terrain well, and I want to maybe do something more with the train part, but I gotta find the time where that's what I want to be doing instead of something else.
Yeah. This has been my favorite event in Landmark since it started. The team up.
Yeah, me too. Because we're actually going to get it like in game, like right away, which is pretty
making
awesome.
stuff we get to play with.
But we're not. I wonder if we're going to get one of those trophies that they showed for the team up build. That's a good question.
I hope not.
Really? Why not?
Yeah. Well, the team up was supposed to be multiple people working together on one item, and if they do it like they did all the rest of the competitions, you know, where only one person gets the prize, even though a whole bunch of people put together on something, I don't think the old team up is going to last very long. And be like, hey, go make me something. You know, that's pretty much what it's going to turn out to be. Just because it's slightly different than the rest of the competitions, you know. It shouldn't be named Team Up if that was the case.
All right, just gonna send out a tweet right quick. Go. It's like they're just about to wrap up. I want to give everyone like 5 minutes to get in here, and then we can get going right after that. So if you want to take a break, now's a fine time to do it.
Get a drink.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll go and get up my chat box.
I will be right back as well.
Looks like he's got the wrong chat box up. I gotta let him know that. Ooh. Can everybody out there in chat hear me? Me and Sogs will keep you entertained until Cody gets back. We're gonna do a Texas two-step or something.
All right, guys, we are just about to get started here with episode number 4 of Landmark Weekly. So get ready for that, guys. We're going to be starting in about 4 minutes. 4 minutes. As soon as
right.
Gio gets back.
Have you swapped out your chat boxes yet?
Chat boxes for what? Oh, for that?
Yeah, because I'm seeing Landmark Lives up there.
There we go. Cool, thank you. And hey, what's up, Toza? What's up, Jello? Gedrick, great to see you. Devlin, really good to see you, man. Pantera's here. Karain, great to see you as always. And Karain, if you get a chance, or if you don't mind, I'd really appreciate if you take all the questions in chat and go ahead and throw them in the TeamSpeak channel for us so we can answer all the questions that you guys have for us out there in chat. And great to see you, Murrin.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Sog.
Uh-oh. I knew I'd messed something up. All right, here we go.
Yeah, we're not doing a recap of the H1Z1 today, okay?
All right, here we go. There we go.
Yeah, you missed that song. After you got up that day and I took over your character, I went PK'd somebody that was sitting in the room.
You actually killed somebody who was streaming into the entire world.
Yes!
So it was actually Udi while he was playing from the streamer box, and I got a little bit of backlash from that.
I'm
Udi
sorry.
Games. That's funny.
Not that I really care.
Oops. That's hysterical. Oh my gosh. See now I gotta go and apologize, dude. Apologize, dude. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was the. Oh my gosh, man.
All right, it seems like everyone's filtering in here. So, guys, I want to welcome you to episode number 4 of Landmark Weekly. My name is Cody, and I'm so happy to have each and every one of you here tonight. We have a huge show. We had a big Landmark Live, a lot of information. We had new props, we had new updates, new bug fixes, and we also got a little sneak peek into what they're going to be adding on the, I think it was the, not the 10th, but the 15th. I'm not, if someone can correct me in chat, what day 15th. We're going to be getting that. Yeah, that new update is on the 15th. So a lot to talk about. I want to welcome or introduce our panel. As always, we have Gio, Landmark Explorer, wakes up on the right side of the morning every day, 5 days a week on the Morning Brew. Definitely follow that guy. It's an awesome show to watch, especially if you got to go to work and you want to go watch Landmark, right?
Watch us on your phone.
So watch him on your phone, watch him at your work computer, all that.
Not while you're driving, but
just not while you're driving. And then, of course, we have Temma here, who is literally the largest guild leader in Landmark of Colossus, huge Twitch streamer, creator of Temma's Tutorial. Everybody should definitely follow Temma, especially if you're a builder in Landmark and you want to learn all those techniques and all that cool stuff. And then, of course, we have our special guest as well here. Sog's here today with us. Thank you so much for being here, Sog, who is the leader of the colony, has been playing EverQuest or Landmark since the very early stages. We've definitely worked together on a whole bunch of different projects and builds, and I want to thank you so much for being here, Sog. I think one of the most interesting things is Sog, as a community leader, has been, he's been a voice that has been kind of counter to a lot of, the mainstream ideas, but it brings in a nice perspective, and I think that's something that we all need. We all need a different perspective, and I think Sog is really good for that. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to follow his stream. I know you've been starting to get back in Landmark, Sog, recently, so I'm really glad to see that. And I think with all the new updates, with the PvE, with the Caves 2.0, there's going to be a lot more new people coming in, a lot more stuff to explore, and all that stuff. So let me start off. Sog, what have you been up to? I know that you've been doing a lot of variety streams, stuff like that. What's going on with the colony and everything?
Not a whole lot. I've been getting back to doing more writing. I've been learning a new programming language,
Oh, right on.
You know-
Which language?
Scala.
Scala.
It's
I gotta look that up.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I haven't heard of Scala.
It's cool, man.
and just hanging out. Did a lot of building over the weekend in Landmark. Don't have as much money in the winter to buy games as they come out because my power bill's a lot higher. And yeah, just relaxing, not forcing anything. Doing what I feel like for fun.
Hey, there you go. That's the way to do it, right?
Scala is an acronym for a scalable language.
Ooh, so it's like vector. It's like based in vector, some kind of. That's cool.
Object-oriented, functional, seamless Java interlope. Functions are objects.
Oh, very nice stuff. All right,
Cute.
so guys, real quick, let me tell you about the purpose of Landmark Weekly, what this show is all about. It's to analyze the new updates that come out and how it will affect the community. And we also want to promote outstanding community members in Landmark and get direct feedback from you guys out there in chat, because we know for a fact that the devs come and watch these shows. They're definitely paying attention to what our concerns are, what we want. And Timma was just talking about that earlier, about how what were we talking about the other day, Timma? And they...
Yeah, we were talking about the, when we go to the hub to go to another island, that when we click on the name of that given island, it told us what biomes were on it. And, I thought that was just an awesome idea. Yeah, we were sitting there we're talking here on the show about it.
Yep, just chatting about it, and bam, there you go. So that's what it's all about. You guys in chat have a really good opportunity to affect the development of Landmark just by, bringing up topics and concerns that are important to you. And because they can see, who's participating, who's actively going to the workshop, who's actively going to the Landmark Live, who is a true part of the community. And if you really want to influence this game, all you have to do is be active, be positive, and make sure your voice is heard. Those are the three key things. And as long as you do that, you will have your voice heard and you will affect the outcome of the game. All right, so that's what this show's about. Thank you again for joining us. Let's dig right into Landmark Live. I made up some notes here. I want you guys to just chime in wherever you want, and we'll just run through the list, talk about what they talked about, and how, particularly how it's going to impact the community and how it affects the builders and the PvPers and all the different aspects of Landmark. So the first thing that they talked about was all the competition winners are going to be getting rewards tomorrow after the updates. So that's pretty cool. They showed off those new trophies. I thought it was really interesting that they retroactively decided to do this, because they certainly didn't have to. And I think it was really, a really good sign of their commitment towards particularly the builders in Landmark who are contributing in these contests. So what do you guys think about that? Did you like the way those trophies looked? And my biggest question to you guys is, what is that last trophy for? They said, is that for the Landmark of Landmark winners, or is that going to be for maybe different stuff as well?
It's putting up with Timma.
The putting up with Timma award. I like it.
Sog would be the first to get the award. He puts up with me all the time.
Great. Put a prop on your claim, guys.
Yeah. Well, it's on top of everything else they get. I mean, they get the their spot on the island. They get whatever other little prop or specialty item as well. So I mean, it's really not too bad of a deal, I guess. It's just like extra bonuses.
Yep, and it certainly is something that's unique in the game that I think they won't, sell or anything like that. I'm not sure if they're tradable. Does anyone know if they're tradable? No?
I doubt so.
Okay, so definitely a cool thing to kind of show off your accomplishments throughout the game and show that you have been a participant. So I'm kind of cool. I think it's cool, and hopefully we'll see even more rewards. And I think someone was talking in chat about what about competition, rewards. And I think that was one of the questions in there. I'm not sure if they answered it towards the end, but I hope they do or have a not competition reward, but a participation award. I'm hoping that they do something like that for us as well down the road, just to show that we were here, we were participating, in helping build Landmark in EverQuest Next in the future.
We talked about that on Theory Forge, and honestly, I mean, if you don't bring those other people in to be a part of it, people just aren't going to, do the competitions, I don't think.
Yep.
So
I think, personally, I would probably do the competitions no matter what, but some people are more in the competitive field. They want to win. That's what they're after. So I feel like, having the prizes and that kind of thing, and maybe the achievement system in the future will also play into that somehow with, we have the Ghoul Master for the Halloween competition. So I would love to see, nameplates as well in the future for that.
Well, I like Cody. I like the fact that they're listening to the player base. It sounds like they're getting their game on. They needed to do this. It's something that came up after the fact, and I like that they're looking at what they've done in the past and how to address it now. So I think we're just going to see more of that as we roll into open beta, which obviously is going to be right around the corner after we spend a month and a half debugging this giant patch that's going to update that's going to come in on the 15th.
Yeah, when they say mega patch, I'm thinking mega bugs. Just inherently, the more you put in, the more bugs there are going to be. So if you're upset by the dying and all the different bugs that are in there right now, be prepared.
I'm excited though. I'm excited.
Oh,
and
it's
I think
exciting.
I think this reward stuff that they've added is great. One of the things that I think is going to be hard to address is when you have multiple people that have worked on a project that's been entered into a contest. So I was over at your awesome claim for the team up thing, and one of the guys in our stream was saying that they had built the train car or parts of the train car. So there's a perfect example. You got more than one person working on the thing. So I wonder how they're going to be able to address that in the future.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that's something that they'll have to look into because ultimately they want us to work together, right? That's what the whole purpose of a virtual reality is. So they really do need to make sure that they're making sure that it's viable for people to work together and get the accreditation that they deserve. So I think we were talking about that a little bit earlier, with the team up build, for instance. Team up sounds like we're supposed to work together with other players to win this competition, and right now there are no awards, I guess, for the team up build. It's just either you get it into the world or you don't. But I mean, some people really strive for those awards. So I would love to see them have a system where everyone who contributes, or maybe if you contribute a certain amount, something like that, everyone gets some kind of award, whether it be a title or an in-game prop. It could be really anything. All right, so let's. So tomorrow they're announcing big details about the Ogre Workshop. I'm assuming that the competition's going to start tomorrow, but we'll have to find out on Thursday, tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. That's 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific, so 2 o'clock Eastern, and that's on the SOE EverQuest Next channel. So be sure to hit that up and see where they're at with the Ogre competition. We got those new props. We got a lot of new stuff. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about the starter templates that we're going to be getting. So that's tomorrow. Everyone's going to get new starter templates. They're automatically going to be labeled as starter, so that's what you'll have to search for. You pull out the templates. You can disassemble it, use it any way you want. There will be no, player assignment to any of those. Basically, they'll just be like free templates that won't have any player association to them, no matter who made them originally. So it's kind of cool that we get to have like a big slew of different shapes and curves and stuff that are already unregistered. When you put them down, they're going to belong to you. You can make whatever you want, and then that's yours. That's pretty cool. And I want to give a special thanks to Spider Oz, who Dave Georgeson said spent, I think, 50 hours cleaning up these things for us. So that's awesome. That's like in-game, you know, that's an in-game player who's actually making this game better for us. And I think, you know, people like Spider Oz, Metallical, Katina, Tenma, Angel Heart, Portavar. I think that's a short list of people that, you know, when EverQuest Next comes out, you know, that's going to be their go-to for when they're going to need stuff, when they're going to need testers for EverQuest Next, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's certainly a good time to start trying to participate in this kind of community activity if you're interested in really being part of the SOE team and getting into that early access situations where you're, you know, every time you do a /bug, if it's, they're rating that stuff. So if you want to participate, get involved, and then when the stuff that you're interested in comes in, like the EverQuest Next beta, closed beta, and all that stuff, you know, you're going to be on that list. And that's really, I think, an important aspect of what they're kind of forming and doing right now.
Yeah, I think wasn't it Portavar also submitted some stuff in there? Lady K. I'd have to bring up the full list from Dave's tweet to give you that full list, but there was a bunch of people that helped do the starter, and there was even more that submitted for the other stuff that you would find in chest and whatnot. And that's coming later.
All right, so did you guys have any? What are you guys' feelings about these starter templates? Are you happy with the direction they're going? I would say one thing that was kind of a little weird for me was the fact that they had the cylinders as those starter templates as opposed to a primitive shape. You know, I was kind of hoping that cylinders would be a primitive shape in the game as opposed to having to lay down the board and stuff. How do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like they're going in the right direction with these starter templates, or would you like to see maybe it pulled in towards the more primitives and the tool sets and that kind of stuff?
I think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'd love for stuff to be easy to make, but when that was suggested on Twitter, Dave replied that they want people to be used to using templates, that they don't want the tools to be. I can get you the specific link to it if you care, but he said that they don't want people to be able to do that stuff with tools, that want people to be used to, if they can't do something, to be going to a template to push people in the direction of Player Studio.
Mm-hmm.
And do I think that it's a double-edged sword? We need the game to make money, or we're not going to have it anymore. If it's not making money, it's going to go away.
Right on.
But
Indeed.
if I want to be a builder in the game, I feel like builders are going to, in the long run, they're just going to, it's a drain. Either you do everything yourself, or you're spending a lot of money. I can't figure out right now what a builder in a more concrete way than visually appealing can give back to a gatherer or an adventurer, or I don't know where the mesh is, and I'm afraid that
that's a great point, Sog.
Pushing that way, it's bad.
That one relationship is hard to figure out at this point. The rewards may be in what they build on their claim as you go explore what they've done and gain some sort of reward through that, but that's still unwritten.
Now, I am a winner chicken dinner says template windows are laggy and it takes time to write and select and place them in the world. And I have to agree with that. Right now it is kind of a pain in the butt. And it is, when you're building that, 2 or 4 or 5 seconds that it takes to load up those templates and find it, that's just detracting from your creativity. And, if you're in a build mode and you want to keep things moving, it does kind of slow you down. So I'm hoping that they address that aspect of that template window being a little bit slow. And hopefully that'll, speed up the process. That's kind of why I want the primitives, the cylinders particularly, because it's fast and I can use it.
Yeah, and another reason for having the primitives is I think a lot of people are purists, and a lot of people who are going to come into the game in terms of building are going to be purists, which means they're not even a starter template they're not going to touch. And I'm thinking Candela is a perfect example. She probably wouldn't even use starter templates. She'd want to craft every voxel herself, and I bet there's going to be a lot of people like that. They're going to see all the tutorials out there on how to do all this wicked cool voxel stuff, and they're going to want to build it themselves.
Have you guys used voxel building tools in other similar games or not? Like, have you played around in Project Spark or Planet Explorers or some of these other games? Like, Project Spark has a very intuitive, very nice, you can make whatever you want, like a system, even with a slider for the how powerful or how large an erode or expand brush is. So like these tools and the ideas and stuff, they do exist in other games. So we're at a point now where an argument that the technology is limiting we know is not where it goes. And really it's this idea of pushing people towards templates, which in another way, I think that if templates had other properties than just voxel structures, then you can have value there. If it's just something that you're building, but if a template has a function, so you build something, you make it into a template, and you assign a function to it, and make it interactive, I think that's a way to add a lot of value to the system. But right now, saying, well, this is how we're going to make money, which we want them to make. I want them to make money because I want to be involved, but we're purposely going to draw a line on what we're going to develop from a tools standpoint so that people pay for things that other people make. That's a decision that we can choose to accept and be a part of or not.
I've always wanted the ability to have even more advanced tools. And, you start out with your basic set, which is basically what we have right now. And then later on, once you reach like a certain point, whether it be experience based or achievement based or however they set it up. But once you reach certain milestones or something like that, you get an advanced tool. Whether it be, like a slide bar that goes along with that tool or whatever to speed something up or whatnot. Or even more primitives, which, they've got a primitive window that's like this big and they only got 6 to 8 primitives in there. You beat a monster or something, you get an extra primitive or something like that. I honestly would love to see something like that where, I defeat a big boss or whatever, I get a cylinder,
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
Anything like that.
Yeah, winning primitives for just for playing the game, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And, I think it's kind of important that even the builders participate in the actual game itself because they have to understand who they're building for at the end of the day, how the combat works, how all the systems work. So I think it is important that.
Oh, that's a good argument.
Too.
That's a good argument.
I'd love to see everybody
I'd love to see everybody get all the primitives. I'd like to not have the primitives be reward based, but that's just me.
Well, it does pull the builders away from their claims to actually go out in the world and do things in that nature. So, it's not
get out
a
of your
bad
house
thing.
and do something. Stretch your legs.
Not a bad thing.
Yep. No, it's not.
Right.
See the
You're
world.
right back.
Join the Navy.
So Guys, we're getting new Christmas outfits tomorrow. That's pretty cool. And they're releasing them unlike other outfits in the past where we're going to get one of three. I'm not sure if they said it was random or not, but they said we're basically going to, get a one of the three, and then we'll have to swap with other players if we want to get certain ones. I'm sure there'll be players who collect them for themselves and try to get all three. But I have two questions. One, do you like the new system of them, unevenly distributing the items to force players to interact and trade? And two, how are these outfits going to be carried over into the closed beta? Because we know that during closed beta, there's going to be a complete wipe, except for the things that we purchased or we won through codes. Now, because we're not winning these items through codes, are we going to get the Christmas item that we were originally given at the closed beta? So making kind of swapping with people pointless, unless you just want to have it for the closed beta environment. Or do you think we're going to get to keep whichever outfits we get during the open beta? Sorry
Sounds
if
like
I
it'll be
misphrased
account
that.
based.
I
Sounds
was
like it'll be
disappointed. I was disappointed. I wanted a Santa suit.
Yeah, where's that? And a Santa hat, right? Still haven't
I want the
got any
Grinch
hats.
suit, man. Give me the
Oh,
Grinch.
that would be awesome. I want one
How about
that
you,
looks
Saw?
just like Terry's.
Well, that's what you're getting is the one that just looks just like Terry's.
I like that.
I don't know.
Except his didn't light up, and I would love to have ones that that light up, have little glowy things on them. Ridiculous.
I would never wear it.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
that's cool. You could trade it. You could sell it. Get some copper for it. Whatever.
Are we getting hats or helmets anytime soon?
That's a good question.
That's on the 15th. We're getting a bunch of new armor, weapons, that sort of thing.
Accessories. Yep.
Someone mentioned a bowler hat. Right on.
Oh, that would be cool. So we got some new Christmas props. We got the new tree. That's cool. So all the trees in right now sway, and the new Christmas tree will be static. The advantage of that is we can put little trinkets on it, create our own little ornaments, and then they won't look weird because the tree's moving around and they're static. So that'll be kind of cool. One thing I would wish, though, is if they would let us scale it up a little bit bigger, because it looked only about like 7-8 feet. Well, maybe it was like 10, 15 feet tall, but I want to.
Was that the largest? Was that the largest?
Yep, he said that was the largest size. So I was a little disappointed in the scale.
Well, it ain't going in my White House.
Did you?
It ain't big enough.
Did you see Bob Dobbs reindeer too? We're getting those. That's pretty.
Those
cool.
were awesome, dude.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, you should see them inside Smoke Jumper's smoker.
No, reindeer.
I have to
Jerky.
assume that's where they came from.
Oh,
Anyway.
Deer jerky's awesome, guys.
It is good.
Okay.
We got that new snow globe. Who did the snow globes? Was that Shatari, Anzul? I forget.
That was Shatari, I believe.
I think it was Shatari, but those are really, really cool. So something else we got here is new kitchen props. So that's huge.
Yeah.
We got the pots, we got pans, we got microwaves, we got toasters, which I was surprised about, and we got pie. So we got cake,
now,
pie. We got
anyone
everything.
taking bets is one of those pans or pots will be a weapon released on the 15th.
Ooh.
Also,
It was either Shatari or Rogue Comet. It was one of
Okay.
those two.
Yeah,
So
it might
I
have been
was
Rogue
sitting there grinding away the gear. Sorry.
Yeah, might have been rogue comments. So we got new ogre props too. We got the bronze chain. That's what we've all been waiting for because the
And the
current chain we
iron.
have and iron chain too. Yeah.
Dark Iron, I believe.
And right now the chain we have was kind of like silver chain. It was like really bright. I think you used iron to make it, but it's just like super bright. So those are the two props that I'm super excited about.
I did the Tin Man dance when I saw that.
It was funny because somebody in chat said, "Dang it all to hell" or something like that. Now I got to redo everything that I've already done. I was like, I feel your pain. I feel your
Seriously.
pain.
All those chains got to get replaced now. We got the new chandelier, which looked kind of cool. It's like, I don't know. It was like a square with all these different lights. Sog, what did you think about that chandelier? Were you digging it? I mean, I thought the cool part is normally you have intersecting light issues when you have a bunch of lamps close to each other, and maybe with this new prop, it'll kind of help with that issue because they're built together already.
Well, I hope that it's designed in a way where on the chandelier there are a variety of different light sources, and it doesn't just emanate a glow like the other chandelier props. But I wouldn't expect that's what you're gonna get from it. When it comes to new props and new outfits and just like static things that you put down, I like playing with the engine. I like being involved, and I like hands-on building. And some of the props are cool looking, but cool looking doesn't excite me. That's why I don't. That's why I can't be Geo here, and I can't be the guy that goes out and visits claims all the time and talks about how awesome they are, because I just don't feel it. And it's not that people are doing bad work. It's just not. I'm not a consumer. I'm not who it's being made for. I like playing around and getting my hands dirty. I don't really like.
If I get the Grinch suit, I'll give it to you.
That's not Grinch suit.
The one thing I did
I'm just not that interested.
The one thing I did notice about that chandelier is the way it was positioned. It was just like the old one, and the fire that it was supposedly a
Looked
bug
like the old one.
was the old ones around the top.
And they've done that with outfits too, where they repurpose,
Yes, they have.
They retool them, and then you can, if you roll over it, yeah, you can see the outlines of the old one.
And then they had like right below it where the other actual lights that were where it was supposed to be or whatever, those were still glowing.
Yep.
So it was like they forgot to remove the particle effect or whatever on that.
Yep. Yeah, they're definitely repurposing stuff, which is, hey, that's how you do it, right? That's how you have to make the thing. So one thing I thought was really cool was the torch lamp that blew out the blue fire. I could see people using that, like scaling it up, using it in the back of a spaceship or something, because that thing looked like a freaking wicked blowtorch. Looked awesome. I was really happy to see that. They had the new pillow colors.
Jeff said, "Yeah, there was a bug with the lights. Thanks to me, fixed that."
Blame Jeff. Awesome.
Blame Jeff. 2014.
We got new pillow colors. That was cool. I mean, we got, it's not that huge of a deal, but really, it's going to be good for.
But they match the motif, so.
Exactly, they match the motif. We can use it for because we had the whites, but we didn't have that beige color, and that could be really useful for sacks of wheat or stuff like that.
I want raw particle effects.
Yeah.
Yes.
No props at all involved. I just want particle effects. Something
Rosie,
that
Jeff,
I don't have. That way, I don't have to hide it. That way, I don't have to hide the prop or try to bury something, and then all of a sudden the server resets, and all of a sudden it's hanging out the wall or something like it has in the past.
How do you target it then if it's a particle effect?
It's a shape. It's still
You just point over
physical
it.
thing.
Maybe it's like a big round shape that almost encompasses half
Yeah,
of it.
it's kind of like the volumes that I was talking to Steve about. It's kind of like that, but it's a prop. It's a prop particle effect.
Yep, I would love that, because right now the spotlights, they're really difficult to use, almost impossible to use with the huge prop that goes along with it. So I agree with that.
Think of it like this. Okay, you have a lava texture now. You can put that down, but there's no fire coming out of it. You get the particle effect that just has a random explosion coming up out of it. I could take that and I could put it exactly where I want to. There's nothing that I have to hide. It's right there. And then I have just little sparks of fire or something coming out somewhere else. So that's kind of my intention on that.
Yep, definitely. All right, so here's something cool. They talked about just a little bit. They said they plan on making a roaming vector tool in the future. He didn't say specifically roaming vector tool, but when Dave Georgeson was going over the reactor tutorial, he said all of this is going to be a tool in the future, so you won't have to mess with the reactors. So I thought that was really cool that they are embracing the offset voxels, and that they're going to be turning that into, you know, a feature of the game, as opposed to kind of just something on the fringes that the voxelmancers do, like Shag and Draco and all those guys, Rogue Comet. So now it's going to be, or they're talking about it being something that anyone can use, and it's especially useful for things like Dave showed those posts, right? Those posts that you put around the docks. You have to use offsets, or else it's going to just distort and mangle up everything. So I'm excited about that. Do you think that when he was talking about those voxel offsets, do you think he was talking about the new voxel editor that they've been talking about for a while?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think this is something different? You guys think it's the voxel editor?
Mm-hmm.
And
That
how,
would
so
be
how would
nice.
that work? How would you add offsets to a voxel editor? It seems kind of like a weird process to say this will not be seen, or this will have no physical property.
Well, it's basically, I mean, you select a voxel, and the only thing you're working with is, you know, those,
Vertices?
yeah, the corner vertices of it.
Like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Shake it up and
Yeah.
That's what I want. A voxel Etch-a-Sketch.
I like it. Okay, so let's dig on into the competition changes. So this is kind of big. They are making a number of significant changes to the competition. There no longer be templates submitted. However, you'll be in place of that, you'll be submitting your claim. So before in the past, you'd have to template something, put it in your template list. It would take up the voxel storage, which kind of sucked, and then you would submit it to the competition. But now we're going to have a feature under, like, I guess that feedback, next to the feedback section up at the top, where you can just submit your claim, and what it's going to do is lock down your claim so you can't edit it, but it will put it on their radar, so other players can actually see all the claims that people put up. They can vote on them. You know, that's going to be like their tier one kind of get on the radar system. If something has a couple votes, maybe they'll go check it out. I'm hoping that they'll be sure to look at all the screenshots as well. And they said that's like the most important thing with their new competition system. Make sure you have really good screenshots, because ultimately if they look at the screenshot, they don't like it, they're going to make a snap judgment and say move on, because you know there's been hundreds of these submissions and they really have a limited amount of time. So I think one of their biggest suggestions was, you know, make sure that your screenshots, your character's not in your screenshot, make sure that your bounding box is turned off when you take the screenshot so you don't have those ugly lines. And make sure you get like kind of a close-up, get the whole thing in there. And I think one suggestion that I could give to all you guys out there for taking screenshots for the submission is make it really small, make it a thumbnail size, and see if it still reads, because if it reads well as a thumbnail, that's going to draw the most attention. That's going to be where it's at. If people have to open it up to actually see what's going on, less likely that it's going to get the votes and the attention, and potentially not on their radar. So one of the cool things as well is with this new competition system is once you submit your competition, you're no longer going to have to pay for the claim upkeep. And that's actually pretty big, especially for you guys out there with the multiple accounts. I know I have 4 alt accounts, and the copper upkeep can get freaking nuts. So and they're also talking about, you know, utilizing this new system to kind of cheat your voxel upkeep a little bit, which could be problematic. So what do you guys think about the new competition system? Do you think it's going to, you know, be better than the old system? The first thing I thought was, dang, that's going to kind of eat up some of my workspace, right? Some of my claim space, because I'm going to have static builds sitting here that I can't modify, that are going to be sitting there for potentially weeks, when I could, you know, be building, updating them, you know, constantly making revisions and that kind of stuff. So, Tema, let me start off with you. You've been working a lot with the Ogre competition. I think you have 2 major builds going on right now. How do you think this new submission system will impact, you know, the Ogre competition? Because I think that's where it's going to first take place. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's going to be negative?
I think it's a good idea, just because you know, when you take a template of something and I pick that up and I move it and I drop it down somewhere, all the textures have moved. They're not sitting exactly where they were when you originally put them down in the first place. This way, they can come to your claim and see how it was that you actually intended it to look. That's the very biggest difference that I see.
Yep.
And that small little change by one voxel can totally throw off everything that you had set up.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And they said, seeing it in the natural environment, that'll also help them, determine the quality of the build. For instance, if you submit something that is meant to be in a ravine, it might not read properly as a template. But if they see it in game, then they're going to be like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on here. Then it's more of a viable submission. Okay, so we have Monday 15th is the next update, but before we get into that, did you guys have anything, Sog or Geo, you want to talk about the Landmark Live today? Anything that you thought was particularly interesting or worth talking about?
Dog.
I don't know. I'm excited for seeing how this next phase of Landmark being closer to its own game really takes shape. And I'm failing at trying to not be too judgmental. But like you're just talking about the claim upkeep. And it goes back to my number one concern is while there's nothing that a builder, by owning a claim, you have no way of giving something back to somebody who's out getting stuff. So everything is pulling you off the claim. Everything takes you off the claim. And now we're adding more stuff off the claim. So should there have been upkeep to begin with? Only if what's done on that claim, only if what's done on the claim can actively affect the world outside the claim, should you need something from outside the claim to interact on the claim.
I got you.
Well,
And
that's my stance.
yeah, that's a great point.
I honestly, they are already monitoring. They know if you've made a change on that claim. If that's the case, then if I go on my claim, and I make a change, it should reset the clock. It should reset that clock and start all the way back over. And then if I'm gone for 3 days, I come back, I change the voxel. It's just like paying my upkeep. As long as I'm making changes on my claim somewhere or one of my claims, it resets all the claims. That right there fixes the whole entire need for having to even pay upkeep, because it's going to weed out people that have been gone over a certain period of time anyway. That was the whole purpose of paying rent on your claim. You see what I'm saying?
You're right. No, Dave, you're right. And I think what it has morphed into is a monetization system.
Well, as it stands right now, the only thing you can pay with is copper. I can't pay with the
cash.
the hardest thing that there is to find in the game. I can't pay with Ethereum. If I'm going to pay, my upkeep, I should be able to have a choice of what it is I pay with,
Dirt.
whether it be Ethereum, gold, Rubicite, or whatever, or have some kind of transaction where I can change one material into another material if I have enough of it.
If it's going to be a working ecosystem between what's done on a claim and what's done off a claim, and building is going to be part of a game experience instead of just something that you can do if you want to, then it could very well be that you have on your claim, you have a prop there, not a flag because it would be lame, and you have I suggested this in one of the things I wrote on my website. You have a quest. And your quest is, in the next week, you have to deposit X number of whatever material that comes up.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Then if you overachieve, it's something you can do in Arcade where you can get like 50% more. So if you overachieve, your claim can get bigger. But then next week, you're going to be required to bring in that much. And then you have a slow degradation. If you fail your quest,
It reduces.
it reduces. So then you slowly go down to nothing. It's not this all or nothing, go mine copper for fun, for whatever, not fun, but spend your play session mining copper. It wasn't a big deal when we had 1, 2, or 3 claims and you log in for just a minute and you hit a couple veins and you've paid for a week. Trying to maintain 10 claims.
10, right?
10
Hello.
claims
It's a big
takes
deal.
time now.
Brutal.
It's a lot of mining, and no doubt.
And
So,
with your
and
OCD,
for
you know,
me-
that's
3 accounts. 3
And
accounts.
And I think Tau Lurker says, paying in station cash really isn't viable. It's kind of overpriced for what you get as far as the upkeep's concerned. And I hope that they do take another look at that, making it a little bit easier to pay with station cash for players to utilize that system as opposed to spending hours and hours getting that copper. And copper's a building material too. We got the new brass, which looks beautiful, and where everyone's using that in their ogre builds particularly. So
I cry every time I pay my rent.
yeah, seriously, I could
I
be
wanna
using
build
that to
with that.
build, right? Exactly.
Oh
I
my
want
God.
to paint my sandcrawler in
Dirt,
brass.
Pete. Let us pay with dirt or stone,
Yeah.
please.
It's
There
like
you go.
Pantera just said, poor lady Kathleen. She got like what, 6 accounts, 30
No,
some odd.
11.
I don't know how she
Good
does
one,
it.
11.
If you,
I don't care what it is or how much it is, as long as building isn't just a sink. As long as there's giving back. As long as it's part of an ecosystem where other people could do the gathering for you and you have something that you can pay them back with other than, resources you buy with station cash or trading things that you bought. There should be a way that my time on a claim has the ability to I earned something somehow that an adventurer might want. But if I'm an adventurer, if I'm a cave diving crazy guy to spend all my time in the bottom of caves going for Ethereum, I've got everything I need at the hub. You can't. I can give you stuff as a builder, but
Yeah,
there's nothing that a builder.
Give me the train car on your team up build.
Yeah, but then what is that? But then what do I do then? It's like, cool, you gave me a template. That's awesome. I don't even have a claim. I don't need one.
Yeah,
See?
I think there is a little bit of a disconnect, and I think Sog's right to point that out. That full game loop and the connection between the different styles of players. You got the PvPers, you got the gatherers, and you got the builders. And I think
Right.
connecting those players is an important thing. And I hope that they find out a way to give the builders the accreditation for the hours and hours and hours that they spend doing what they're doing. When
Maybe-
it's kind of
Maybe
subjective
the
at same time.
building, maybe if you integrate the building aspect of it with the crafting system of some system, where if you put X number of time into building something, or I don't know how it would work, whatever, but have that integrated with the crafting system. That way they're earning the ability to craft certain items through the building. If that way you merge not only the crafting with the building, it would probably close up that gap at least just a little bit. Am I wrong?
No. Now let me throw something out there. Now we're getting those rewards for the competitions, right? Those totems. We got the Dark Elf one. We got the Karen one, and then we're going to be getting the Ogre one. Now, what if they tied those in to give some kind of a bonus, like a crafting bonus, or maybe when you smelt something, those items will give you plus 10 to the iron, to kind of make people want to go to the claims that have those different builder items that are specific to the builders.
Cody, okay, we've quite a while ago we talked about a reward system project on our show, and one of the topics were rewards related, tied to building, integrated to building. Could be anything, whatever your imagination can come up with. Placing down a certain number of voxels, using a certain number of materials in your build, all of them, whatever
Having
it is.
certain number of visitors could even be one. Sure.
You unlock something that can be a tradable reward, and therein lies the magic that SOG is looking for. And I totally agree with him. He's absolutely right. There is a disconnect here, and this is the way to address it. This to be creative. You can come up with any number of cool things. What do people want who are not building, who want to go out and adventure and kill stuff? They want more power. They want cool looking stuff for their character.
Better
How
armor,
about
plus
how about
armor, right?
unlocking that through some sort of building mechanism when you're building your claims?
I have suggested that, like I was talking about templates having functions. I've suggested that you can't place a crafting station if it doesn't fit in a voxel template that has certain properties, whatever those are. So, if you want to have or have your own saw table, that a saw table can only be placed as part of a required prop for a template. So you either have to design your own, or you have to buy one on Player
Perfect.
Studio, or
Yeah,
so
that's
that
great.
there really is then you really have a crafting house. You don't have that it actually is something in the world. That's my point. That when
Yeah.
we build something, if it really is something in the world and really is a part of the lives of people that are out and about, apart
Yeah.
from
Has function.
going into an
Has
instance,
function.
yeah, then we're really creating an ecosystem. And I talk about this, and I have no idea how it's going to feel in 2 weeks, but I'm concerned because the solutions that we talk about for making building better or making the experience better or making gathering better, every solution we talk about with the information we have is really one-sided. Like a builder, I just like to build. Well, I should never have to gather resources. Well, I should never have to pay upkeep. The game is just about building for me, and it should cater just to me. And this is what the forums are. It's all these people talking about how the game should cater towards my play style, not how can my play style be part of an ongoing ecosystem that supports everyone's play style so we don't bleed players. We don't bleed builders because they lost their whole claim because they didn't pay their upkeep and they just don't want to start again. Gatherers don't feel like they're out on their own, not part of anything. It has to all be part of one big thing. And I still have hope that it'll be there with
Yep.
a healthy amount of concern.
Right on. So
Voxel Forge is some building reward. Everybody in the world will be coming to your
Oh.
claim to use it.
oh man, how awesome would that be?
It'll be that one that walks around the world just smashing claims like this.
Now, that's something that I was kind of just thinking about. What if we had a system where, those really cool builds that you're talking about, Sog, those awesome forges, those awesome cities, what if they had the ability, based on their tags, based on their player reviews, based on, multiple elements, including maybe even dev tagging, where they would attract certain in-game NPCs to them, or, attract certain elements to them that could provide those bonuses that the PvPers and the adventurers and all those people are looking for. Essentially there would be you can imagine a finite amount of these in-game NPCs or systems that could travel around and provide these bonuses, crafting bonuses, and possibly move based on player feedback and all that stuff. Would that kind of system be something you're interested in? Yeah.
I'm all for something like that as long as affects cross-claim borders. That I think it would be neat if the way that you attracted that instead of, for say, a claim vendor, instead of putting down a table that people click on to open something up, that you had to build something to attract a world NPC to come to your claim and work for you.
Bacon.
I think
That
I think that would be really cool. Like you log in and you've got a message from Tenma's alt that he hasn't played in a while. It's just been like hanging out. Like, hey, I saw it. You have this claim that's been visited so many times. I could help you sell things, whatever. But then you have to build them a house to live in. You have to house this NPC, and then it becomes a way that
Then you have a reason to build.
you have a reason that it becomes part of an interaction. If the game, if we're just gonna if we're just gonna build, I'm all for that too. But give me an instanced world where I have complete control over it, and don't make me pay upkeep, and don't limit my tools, and make it as easy as possible to build cool stuff. If it's all about building cool stuff.
Yeah, and
I think if that was affordable for them, they'd do it.
Yeah, in that regard, I'm still wanting a table or some mechanism that when I place a claim down, I get this a disc. I don't know. It could be anything, but when I place that disc in the world, if somebody teleports to my claim, they teleport to that location wherever I place it at, instead of
the default corner.
Yeah,
of the claim,
instead of
your
that
first claim.
default corner. That way I could have them, when they spawn in, they're right at the grand entrance.
Where they should be.
And I could, whatever claim I have out there, they're all linked and they will all spawn to that one location.
Yeah.
Or they're in your dungeon and they got to fight their way out.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
And that kind of brings up the new graveyard system that they're going to be adding in. And I believe they already told us that we're going to be able to craft these and put them on our claim. So that's cool. That'll be useful. And they said they're going to be adding, on the 15th, they're going to be putting in like the ley lines, all this different stuff for the traveling, for getting around. So I'm hoping that will be a consideration. Where is the primary spawn location of our claim so we can get that, perfect view?
Well,
the big
it would
grandiose-
it would also fix that falling through the freaking ground every single time you teleport to a claim. Also, they need that kind of spawning location on top of the hub, not to the sides of the hub. It worked before, but for some reason now it's broke.
Yeah, I don't know what's been happening with the falling damage. They Pentapod said they're working on it tirelessly, so they're aware of it and they're working on it, but I think they're just having issues locking it down. Real quick, I just want to touch on a couple things. I was reading through the Landmark forums today, and the biggest discussion on there right now is actually player drop-off. Recently, the numbers of players have kind of gone down, and I've been seeing it in my friends list, not as many people online, that kind of thing. I think one of the biggest reasoning behind it is people just don't like that dying. People don't like having to load in over and over. They feel like the game is just broken, busted. What do you guys think about the recent player drop off? Do you think it's something that the new updates, they said there's going to be like a huge patch coming on the 15th. Do you think that will be something to bring people back in? And, secondary, is the fluctuation of player population something that you guys are concerned about, particularly as large community members that you are, and it directly affects you with your Twitch streaming and all of the other aspects that you guys, manage and deal with every day? And I'll start that off with Tema.
No, I'm throwing it aside.
Okay. I actually,
I think it's that way.
my friends list, and even though I haven't spent a whole lot of time in game, but recently there have been more people on my friends list active, which really means there are more people that basically haven't played since before July around. I think there are a lot of people who have been active from the beginning that are still watching, still there, still checking in. Do I think that adding mobs to the open world is adding temporary test mobs without I don't know if there are any major combat changes. So with the combat system we have, adding NPCs to the world, do I think that is going to bring some people back? Well, some people are going to see the email that SOE sends out, hey, guess what's new? And they're going to click, and it's not going to keep them, though. That we're still so far from the finished product that people that have come in and checked the game out are going to keep popping in and checking things out and keep going. It'll be just like PvP. So It's like PvP is going to bring everybody back. There's going to be this huge boost of players. Yeah, PvP was cool for like 2.5 weeks. And then I think there were fewer people after that. And I think that people that came back for PvP are now less likely to come back for something else because, they still weren't getting what they wanted. Now, all we need to do is maintain a quality group of people willing to test and willing to put in the time and willing to give feedback and willing to carry on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that matters. This is still a test. And I'd argue that everybody wants open beta to come. Everybody wants official launch. So as long as the primary function of Landmark is to test features for EverQuest Next, we should never call it anything more than a test.
Mm-hmm.
That changing that name doesn't make it something that it isn't. So I think that when we get past the point where Landmark's primary function from a development standpoint is testing out pieces of things for EverQuest Next without giving spoilers, and into developing it to be its own fully functioning game, that's when people are going to come to Landmark. That's when Landmark's going to start being as good or better than EverQuest Next ever could become. Landmark has potential to be the best game that was ever made if it's taken in the right direction.
Yeah.
And,
But
and
it's
not
test
and not
until
rushed.
100%.
Yeah.
And not rushed.
Well,
Like it has in
what
the
we've
past.
seen, what we've seen already is we've seen 3 types of players, and it's always going to boil back down to that. As long as we're in a test mode of any kind, closed, open, whatever, you've got people that love to build. They're going to be here to build. They'll suffer through everything just to build and do their art. All right. You've got the people who are addicts. All right, and everybody raise your hand. You know who you are. You're addicted to this. There's just something about it. You can't put your finger on it, but you can't leave it alone. All right, that's it. And then there's that third group, and these are the people who are true testers. These are people that love to test software. They want to have their name on it. They want to know that they shaped the game. It's what they live for. It's what they do, and you know who you are. There's a bunch of them in the stream. In chat here. I think there's some on the show here. But, I mean, really, there's 3 types of people. And when all the noise and excitement settles down after monsters, after combat, after every feature, after every new element to complete the circle gets added, it's going to boil back down to that until the game loop's completed and the bugs are mostly gone.
Yep. I think you couldn't have put it better.
Honestly, it would not bother me a bit for them to go, okay, guys, we're stopping what we're doing. We're re-implementing the NDA. Shut everything down. If you're in the game, you are now officially our testers, and they pummel us with every bit that they can possibly test with us. Let it run for 2 months. We fix what needs to be fixed. Then we come back out of NDA with a beautiful game that not open beta. I'd still leave it in closed beta. Get all the bugs fixed. And then after we get to the point where, the testers are happy, then we could start letting in some more people. And if they're happy, then go into open beta. I know that sounds kind of retarded, but still, I think that the bug section of it right now is what's pushing a lot of people out. Especially when I go to teleport to my friend and then I fall through the earth, I die, and I go back to the hub. That kind of stuff repeatedly. You've got graphical bugs that are still there. Every once in a while you get that little line through the world that just won't go away, and then you have to alt enter or restart your client to be able to get fixed. Little stuff like that. I know that happens on mine, and I've got a pretty beefy machine. Now, you take it down to someone that has a less beefy machine, and they can't even play.
Yeah, and right there is the heart of the issue. They've got to make this thing work on machines that can play all the other games out there in the world. or they're just having trouble struggling with the voxel engine itself because it's a whole different beast. So as soon as they, get that.
But I mean, and the reason why we lost a lot of people is everybody was expecting, oh yeah, we're getting some brand new combat stuff that nobody ever seen. Ooh yeah! And then you got old Macho Man and stuff. And then when it came out, they were like, it's 2 buttons.
A bit overhyped, I would say.
And there's no tab targeting. And then all of a sudden,
Yep.
everything that everybody, thought it was going to be, that wasn't. And then they left.
Yep. Because they lost.
They will
lost that-
never be back.
Yeah.
They will never be back. They've lost it. That first shine is all that's important to those combat guys.
For PvP, I think Temo brings up a really good point. The fact that once they get their first impression of something in the game, that's it. That is all that, and that's what they're going to tell all of their friends as well. And it's really a double-edged sword, bringing in people early, especially with those PvP competitive types, because they really are hypercritical of, because they have so much experience with all the other PvP systems that they've ever played, which are amazing and incredible and do all these sorts of different things, that if they see something that has problems or they don't like, they're going to immediately say, nope, this is not for me.
CTP just said, no, we just wanted those 2 buttons to be fun.
Yeah, right on. I feel that.
Okay, high five.
Well, now we got
I'll
3.
agree with
Now
that.
we got 3. So,
Yeah.
But right on. I mean, I think everyone feels that way about the PvP. It's got a lot to go forward, and I think that their implementation of it is more geared towards EverQuest Next and trying to get the fully fledged, immersive PvP system. Instead of starting with something basic that's playable for us, they wanted to get like all the core big mechanics in, and I really think that has to do more with EverQuest Next than Landmark as far as the PvP system's concerned. I'm not sure. But just to move on to the next topic, this is going to be the last topic, guys. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us today after Landmark Live. This is Landmark Weekly episode number 4, and I want to talk quickly about the Team Up. The Team Up build, I'm going to post a link to this. It's actually kind of hard to find in the forums, but here's the official link. It has all of the competitions, submissions there. I strongly recommend you go check those out. And I wanted to give a special thanks to Augur Dev. He's one of the EverQuest Next developers who has been going through painstakingly and giving amazing feedback for everybody's submission. So you guys, if you're not following this guy, make sure to follow him on Twitter. Let him know what you're building. And he's going to give you the feedback, because he's the developer who's going to be placing these in the cave. So he's the guy who knows what's going to work, what's not going to work, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. So I just want to say that I really like the direction that EverQuest or Landmark is going by having the developers, constantly give that really good feedback. And again, make sure to follow that guy because he's freaking awesome. He's doing a really good job. Okay. So, guys, before we wrap up, I want to know what you guys are doing with your communities, what you're doing with the Team Up build, if you're working on that, and anything that you're doing. So let's start with you, Sog. What do you got going on? I know you've been Twitch streaming. You've been playing some Landmark. What do you got going on this week?
In Landmark, I'm going to, at some point, finish up my Team Up build, which is a ruined train station that some great people like Rama and Murren and Portavar and Clarity have been helping with. And I think we've got a pretty good start. It's got probably another 4-hour game session to, fix up and submit. And like Cody said, Mr. Augustine's feedback, that level of involvement is exactly the kind of thing that we felt like we were all going to get from the start in Landmark and have been craving for a long time. So that's awesome. Other than that, I'll be on Theory Forge as usual this coming Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And our guest this week is Murren.
Awesome. Very cool.
Awesome.
All right, George, what do you got going on? I know you do the 5-day-a-week morning brew show, which I love. So what do you got going on?
Well, we've kicked off 2 new shows. One of them is a combat show, comes on 30 minutes after the morning brew is done. That's with Lycan Coffee, and we just go through the inner workings of combat. We'll keep doing that. It's about 30 to 45 minutes long, and we're looking at all the weapons, the armor, combinations, and every time we do it in a different arena to talk about tactics and strategy and all that. It's a great show. If you're looking for some combat during the daytime, come find us. That comes on usually about 1:30 Eastern time. And then we've got Landmark Nightlife that just kicked off. It's 8 o'clock Eastern right now, Monday through Friday. And it's clubs, pubs, and cool places to go see at night. And that is done by our very own Devlin. So,
Awesome.
guys, it's going to be on right after we're done here for a little while, and then we roll on to Danny's show. And look, if there's a quote of the week, dude, it's SOG. That Landmark, seriously, guys, that Landmark has the potential to be the best game ever made.
I think we all agree upon that. You know, it's just a matter of execution, and we're all hoping that, you know, us, the community, can put them in the right direction and to get the game where we want it to be. And that's what this show's all about. That's what you guys are all about. So I couldn't agree more with you there, Gio. Temba, what do you got going on this week, my friend?
I'll have to back up, what you just said there, Gio. Yeah, I mean, every single person that's here right now, they all want the game to succeed, because if you're not here or you haven't participated in Landmark Live at some point in time, or Theory Forge, or any of the shows that goes on here in Twitch, or haven't participated in the forums in some form or fashion, you're not a part of that group if you haven't. But if you're here and you're actually participating, you want to know what's coming out. You want to help get this game to where it should be. Then you are in that group. And it's this group that has got the game to where it is now. But it's going to take that same group to push it to the next level. Help the devs. Be like, look, it's broke, fix it. This doesn't work, fix it. Even if they don't respond to you, it's okay. You got your information out there. It's all good, but it's still going to shape the game long term. It's just being a part of it. Most of the time, me and Sog don't agree with things, but it's kind of funny because half the stuff Sog said tonight, I agreed with. So, and when we get to the point where we can all halfway agree on something, that's a good start, and I think that's just great. But that off to the whole ending thing, because I know Cody's about going, come on, man.
I got buttons to press here, Temba.
Right.
Well, Temba, real quick,
Yeah.
Temba, we changed the community build from Saturday to Sunday night. Can you talk about that?
Yes.
What time that starts?
Yes, I did have to change the community build to Sunday because I am back to work now, and so my Saturdays are taken. I don't have much of a choice. But we're going to be doing it at the same time as what we did on Saturday, but now it's on Sunday. Also, this past Monday, we had Steve Klug on Timba's Tutorials. We did an interview with him. Definitely check it out on YouTube, on my YouTube channel.
Sure. Oh, that was awesome.
Let's
Really
see.
informative.
Then, of course, Wednesdays, I'm here with Cody. So, but that's pretty much the big things. And I will stream when I can, guys. Work kind of has priority right now. I need the money.
All right, so guys, this has been Landmark Live, or Landmark Weekly. I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to mention real quick that I recently started a new guild in-game called Nanovoxels, so if you're interested and don't have a guild yet, be sure to hit me up in-game, KODI. I also, do some YouTube videos, so if you're interested in that, it's called Cody's Tips. You can check that out on YouTube. I try to stream every Saturday. But I do stream, throughout the week from here to there. So make sure you're following the channel. Hit that follow button right now. And of course, we do the weekly show every Wednesday right after Landmark Live, where we talk about all the issues that are important to you guys out there. And as you saw, we have developers in the chat listening, getting all that information and feedback directly from you. So I want to thank everyone out there, all the people here. I want to especially thank Sog for coming on today and sharing some really great information. So again, as always, guys, my name is Cody, and don't forget, keep up on your upkeep.